beautiful Michelin-starred restaurant, which is shuttered at the moment, as are your other restaurant across the road, Tartare, and Cava in the centre of town. What effect is all of this having on your businesses? And you know, do you think you'll be able to survive all of this from a business perspective?
Look, it is difficult, and we've been having I've been having chats with some chefs on Instagram Live, because we had these public chats through we have a symposium that all called Food on the Edge that we also had to cancel in October, that we bring chefs to here to Galway to showcase Galway. And like, I think we're all over the world, the hospitality industry or the restaurant industry is going through a kind of traumatic time, and I worry about the economics of it, but I also worry about the mental health aspect of the people who can't work. And I suppose we're in a space of unknowing at the moment. I mean, it would be great to have a plan, to see a plan, no matter, even if it would change, because I understand the nature of the virus. But I think really what the restaurant industry needs is some type of plan that will take it to August or September, just to see what it might look like. Because at the moment, with no plan, we can't open. As I said to you before we started, like, we're going to, Cava and Tartare are adaptable, and we could probably start takeaway there in May. Like, it'll probably only be 30% of what we were doing. Like, will it be enough to survive? Probably not. It'll probably be enough to tick over. If we open midsummer and we have 50% less seating and we have social distancing, like, it really depends on the economic environment of the country as a whole, and I worry that about between 30 and 50% of restaurants will close. I mean,
in Galway alone.
Like, I don't know. Like, Galway, I suppose we're cocooned to a certain degree in a city, where I think the cities may restaurants in the city may survive better than restaurants outside the city. I don't know. But if you take, like, even Aniar, for example, which has 80 to 100% tourists, like, I would be very concerned with the model of Aniar. And then I would be very concerned with that model if you apply that model to places like where we have similar restaurants like Aniar in West Cork. I mean, there will be no tourists this year. And so if you can close and hibernate and effectively cut your costs, then maybe you'll be able to reopen. But if you can't stop the machine of costs incurring, we have a lease here, so we have to continue to pay, so we have to do something with the building. That will depend on how we survive or not. But I do feel that, I mean, restaurants, and again, it's important to state this. I mean, Gabrielle Hamilton wrote a wonderful article in the New York Times about her restaurant Prune, that, like, people imagine restaurants because they're full, that they make a lot of money. And generally, when people want to book into restaurants, they always ring on a Saturday. And I always say, ring a restaurant on Monday and see what happens. And I know in Dublin, and it's probably similar in Galway, like 75% of a restaurant's income is taken on Friday and Saturday, probably mostly on Saturday. And so it puts a great pressure on the rest of the week. And a good example I always tell people from Cava is that the profit we make in Cava in July and August is equivalent to the profit we make in the other 10 months. So you have 2 months, which is July and August in Galway, to make 50% of what will keep you going for the year. And this year we won't have that. And so it will really depend on whether people will come out and eat. And I don't think there will be enough people eating out for the next 6 months to save all of the restaurants. And so will there be a subsidy scheme? I don't know. When I look at France and Denmark in particular, Denmark is actually covering the cost of keeping restaurants going even though they're closed. I have a friend, Matt Orlando, who has a restaurant in Copenhagen, and the government are paying him to be closed. And if you want to open as a takeaway, they won't pay you. So he's just hibernating, and the costs are being covered. I don't know if we have that love of food in Ireland. I don't know if there's anyone in the government that loves food enough. And I don't say that in a mean way. I think that what we need in Ireland is a minister for food. We have a minister for agriculture, but we confuse food as a cultural experience with agriculture as a farming food production. And we need someone to come out like Macron did and said, we are not going to let our restaurants die. Our restaurants are us. But I cannot see anyone in the government saying that. I feel that we are almost in this Darwinian game of the survival of the fittest, and we're not as bad as New York, and I have friends there, and it is very bad because they have no security, and it is very Darwinian there. It's like, if you survive, and if you fail. But I feel like we're somewhere in the middle in Ireland between the Danish model and the model in the US, where we can't decide whether or not we want to see if market forces will just sort it out, or whether or not we will subsidize an industry, particularly a restaurant industry, that we've only grown used to in the last 20 years. And is it part of our identity enough to save? We will save, absolutely, I think, farming, and we will save things that are there culturally in our blood for 100 years. I think, and the pubs, I think, as well, we will definitely do something. But I think restaurants are very, very new and very, very young. I don't know if there's anyone there when they spread it all out and go, who can we save? And that's, I think, what it'll come down to. And it's like, we'll save essential services first, and then we'll try and sort out the rest. And I understand that, and it has to be pragmatic. But I really think that we need more of a dialogue between the government and an industry, in the sense of, what do you need? Let's see what we can get you, as opposed to, this is all we can do, we've decided. And I feel that's the way it is at the moment. We're waiting for a plan, but we can't ask anything because we're in a state of emergency. It's almost like a state of war, and it's very difficult to criticize because I see how bad things are in the UK, and I see how bad things are in the US, and like, we're doing a good job in Ireland. But at the same time, I feel we're in a little bubble, and once that bubble breaks, I think I worry that if it's just going to be survival of the fittest, then possibly, I think if we have 3 restaurants, we may only have 2 coming out of this. I think if that's our 30% cut, and if I was to be absolutely honest, I would feel that we will lose 30% of our staff. At the moment, we've lost all our staff, but if we reopen in a graded way, we won't be able to hire everyone, and because we won't have the business, and that's, I think, every restaurant will have to make that decision, and it's going to be really hard. And I feel in a certain way that we are going back to a time in the 1980s. I remember when my father lost his job, and to be unemployed in the 1980s was so difficult. And he lost his job, and then the TV went, and the car went, and the phone went, and everything went. And then we went through this prosperity in the 90s. And I feel that we're not that far from falling back into, of course we will all have smartphones and all that. I think that's not going to go away. But I feel that we're on a precipice of just that we're going to fall into this, and I don't know where we're going to go.
Is there a danger that Aniar would permanently close?
I would worry about that. Yeah, definitely. It is there, and I've said it publicly, because I think what the problem with restaurants is sometimes they're a little bit like, I suppose maybe it's coming out of this Italian model of a restaurant, where there's this caginess to like not tell you what they make and not tell you what they earn, and this great. And of course, food is marked up a lot in restaurants, but I think restaurants need to be more transparent. And I have no problem telling people what my wage costs are and how much this is going to make on food, because what we make at the end of the day is probably between 2 and 5%. And I can tell you about different models of restaurants, but I think what we don't have is enough transparency and confidence to listen to that and to realize, oh God, like, restaurants are not fleecing us. Like, I mean, there is more money made on a €5 bag of chips than there is on a 500 meal in a 3 Michelin star restaurant. You may have €3 left after that €500. You will have €3 left after your bag of chips when you've sold it. So that is the difference, and I think people need to understand that. And a lot of times, once you go over the €100, it's not about being vast money being made. It's almost like these people are celebrating food for its own sake. And that's what happens as you continue to go on and on and on. And that doesn't take account the couple % of restaurants that do survive and make a lot. But they are very, very small. And I think people need to realize that most of the time, restaurants that do good food are just there because they love it and they like providing that service of hospitality. And I think that that's what we need to do. But if Aniar does go, I mean, then it goes, and we have to try and reformulate, and like, other good stuff will come of this, you know. And I have always wanted to move Aniar to I mean, in the dream world, into Connemara, into a place with rooms, into a place where I think I can make it more sustainable, because at the moment we depend entirely on tourists, and we don't have a place midweek where people can stay as well. And I know a lot of the restaurants like ours around the world that work that are in smaller populations like Galway have rooms as well, and that's how you make it more sustainable, you know. And I think it's really about the sustainability of Aniar that I worry about. Sustainability of fine dining restaurants that I worry about, because the illusion is that when you pay more money, the restaurant makes more money, and the opposite is true. When you go for your €10 chicken meal, that's where most of the money is made. And if people realise that, it's not that they're going to go and spend more money. It's just that that the system is skewed. But like, again, what will happen? It's a hard one to know.
Listen, JP, it's been a total pleasure talking with you. I definitely need to come back for some more views on a different occasion. I wish you the best of luck. I hope you come through. I've no doubt you will, and you'll go on to develop other wonderful things. But thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, Karen.